From Mamma Mia, welcome to The Spill, your daily pop culture fix. I'm Laura Brodnick.
And I'm Ksenia Lukic.
And welcome to Weekend Watch, where we talk about the biggest new movies and TV shows that have just dropped this week, or a few little throwback recommendations from past weeks as we're doing today.
We have opened up the rules slightly, Laura.
I know. I have been holding on to those rules because I made them for over 5 years, but now I've loosened the reins. I'm trying to be, it's the new fun, cool me. She's chill. She's easygoing.
She's very easygoing. But this week we do have one that is very, very timely and something that a lot of our listeners are going to be very, very excited about.
The build-up for this moment, I can't even talk about it. Well, first of all, we had a 20-year build-up, and now it's been over a year because the new season of And Just Like That has dropped on Max in Australia today. And look, we have had a sneaky look at the first episode, so we're going to get into that. It's going to be spoiler-free. Okay,
but first, Laura, you've got something else for us.
Yes. So this did come out maybe over a week ago now. And I know. But there's a reason. It's not because I wasn't across it. It's because I wasn't emotionally ready to watch it. And I take my job as a TV and film reviewer very, very seriously. I always make sure I watch the full, series or movie before I do anything. I don't read anyone else's reviews on anything until I've written my own so I can have my full thoughts. I always give my honest opinion, especially if it's a movie, because movie
Look
prices...
at you and your journalistic integrity.
I know, as if I can't be bought. I definitely can if anyone wants to buy me, just no one's offering. Movie tickets are expensive now. I just realized. So if someone's going to go spend their money or they're going to join a streaming service, it's got to be worth the money.
Well, this is the thing. The amount of streaming services now, it has to be really good. So tell us about the show.
Okay, so the show is called Overcompensating, and you can watch it now. There's 8 episodes on Prime Video.
We'll play it.
You can at least say hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Queen.
What the am I doing here?
You're such a legendista.
This is the highlight of my college experience.
That is a tragic sentence.
It's created, written, and stars Benito Skinner, who is a really well-known comedian, online personality, but also podcast host of one of my favorite podcasts of all time, Ride. That's how I know him. And his co-host from Ride, Mary Beth Barone, who's also a comedian actress, plays his sister in the show. And it's based on his life. This is why I went into it kind of being like, okay, I love these people so much. I've been listening to their podcast for years, both this podcast and the podcast they used to have together. And I know more about Benny. His name's Benny Drama on Instagram. I know more about Benny Drama's family than I do about the families of my friends. And this is a story based on his family. This is why I went into it being like, am I actually going to like this show? Or am I just going to like it because I know the backstory and I feel invested like a proud, weird aunt or something like that?
Okay, so I am on the opposite spectrum. I'm going completely blind into this. I am not familiar with this at all. So if there's anyone else out there like that, give us what's it about?
Okay, so it's based on his true life story, but it's him going to college and he's come from being the golden boy of his high school. He was the, champion of the football team. I don't know what the actual term is. The quarterback. Yeah. The best player on the team, most valuable player. He was homecoming king.
He was varsity quarterback.
That is exactly how they speak on the show, so that's great. So he was the quarterback. He was the homecoming king. He was valedictorian. He was the cool guy at school. Everyone loved him. And the whole time he's playing a character because he's secretly gay, still in the closet, and just feels like if he ever told anyone that he was gay, then his life would be over. And so he's overcompensating, which is the name of the show, of acting like this really butch straight guy. Then he goes to college and develops this crush on this other student, this hot guy, and his world sort of starts to unravel. But it has all these amazing characters that have come together for their first year of college, and you sort of see the dynamics between their group and people finding themselves and friendships. And it's just the one-liners in it, because he wrote it, he's very funny. The one-liners in it are so funny and so quick. All of his scenes with the different characters are so well done. Connie Britton plays his mother, Kyle MacLachlan plays his father. The cast is stacked, and it's also just got a really kind of lovely, heartfelt moment kind of going through through it, especially knowing that that's what he went through in real life. Like, he was on the football team in high school. He was, you know, really like tried to get everyone to think he was straight and be this butch guy so he would be accepted. And now he's kind of on the other side of it, creating the story to show like where being his true self got him. Was really nice.
Not a coming of age, but like a coming of queer kind of.
Like, exactly.
You know, accepting yourself and finding yourself, you know, in your own identity. And I think that's so pertinent. Like, people want to see these stories.
Yeah, exactly. So it's on Prime Video. It's just a lovely watch. It's called Overcompensating. There's 8 episodes. You can just kind of watch them all in one go. It does a little bit, I will say, feel a little bit like that kind of, because he writes a lot of online sketch comedy. It does feel a little bit like that. But I would say watch the first couple of episodes, and once you get into the groove of the storytelling, it's a really fun watch.
Okay, so, and just like that, season 3 drops today. I think there's been a lot of people that are very excited, you know, multiple camps on this reboot of Sex and the City.
There's nothing like summer in New York City. I'm trying something new. It's fiction.
Romanticy is very hot right now. Sex in the Cauldron.
Now I have a title. Carrie, have you heard anything from Aiden? Life is a story we get to write every day.
We have got to be present for every moment.
And when the plot twists, we can choose to embrace a new chapter.
We've had 2 seasons. I would say from my perspective, first season, I was like, Second season, I liked a lot more.
Okay.
I feel like they found their footing a little bit more. But where we left off, basically, Aiden came back into the picture with Carrie. And I think that was like really comforting for a lot of people. It was almost like this throwback that people really wanted to see.
Once we got over the jump scare of how he appeared. Remember how he appeared in the road with that buttoned up black jacket and he looked like a serial killer and everyone like jumped back from their TV? Do you remember that?
Like he looked really handsome.
Oh my God, no. The online people were making memes. There were TikToks. Like people think he looks like
maybe I like serial killers.
Maybe you do. Well, that's something definitely to unpack. That's a bit sexy and fun. But now he's just his old school Aiden kind of self.
Yeah. So we've got Aiden. Aiden's got kids. He lives out in Virginia.
Norfolk. I don't know where that is.
somewhere in
somewhere
like
there, a
some
red
farm.
brick, an hour and a half flight from New York. That's what
So,
Paris
and
is.
they get back together. They're having this really beautiful like rekindling of their romance. Now, where we leave off in season 2 is Aiden basically says, I need to be with my son right now. His son has a DUI car accident. They found drugs in his system and alcohol in his system. And he's like, I need to be at home with my family. And Carrie says, well, how long do you need? And he says, 5 years.
Just a casual 5 years.
And she's like, what do you mean? And he goes, it's going to go just... And then he doesn't snap his fingers because he says 10 years is like that. So 5 goes so quickly. It's all this very very dramatic. But that's where we leave off with Carrie. Miranda and Che have kind of ended their relationship. Miranda is again going through this self-discovery, you know, finding out that she is... I think she's kind of, you know, newly trying to figure out her sexuality. Is she a lesbian? Is she bisexual? Is she queer? I think that is still kind of really big for her. Che has finished their run on the season. They basically said that they and the rest of the producers had kind of realized that Che's story had kind of come to an end. So that's where Miranda's left off. And she's also gone back to law. Human rights law. Miranda, that's Miranda. We did get a little bit of Samantha, so maybe she'll show up in season 3. And then Charlotte's just doing her thing.
Yeah.
I feel like there's not that many changes with Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, again, she's back at full-time work, but it's still very much, her storyline's still very much dominated by her 2 children.
Yeah, her story, she goes back to the art gallery. There's a little bit about her feeling uncomfortable in her body as a mum with this like mum tum, which was
that was a weird episode. And then she sees plus size woman and is like, I'm fine.
Yeah, I wasn't
turn of events.
I wasn't sure how I felt about that because first of all, it was like, you know, remember in that first Sex and the City movie when Samantha rocks up and they're like, oh my God, who's got the gut? And it was like nothing. it kind of felt a little bit like that. But
Yeah.
as a general rule, I did really enjoy it. It's kind of one of those shows that it is about easy watching. It is about comfort watching. It is about just enjoying like brain-free watching.
Yeah.
But season 3 has dropped. You've watched the first episode.
I did. It was look, I have to say, I know that there is like a bit of criticism around and just like that, and a lot of it is fair, but I've got to say, and again, me talking big talk about being a TV reviewer, I can't look at this show with an unbiased eye, because Sex and the City is one of my favorite shows of all time, and I've watched every TV show, so like I feel like that's a big call. And so I do allow these writers and this cast a lot of leniency because of nostalgia. In saying that though, I think that especially if you like season two is a more continuation of finding that lighter side and returning to old school Sex and the City in a way that doesn't feel like they're retreading past storylines and they're trying to be 30 again. It's just recaptured the magic of why we loved this show, because season 3 opens with, and this is why I'm glad I had my setup. I sat down to watch the screener, and I sat in my like single girl city apartment, and I lit all my candles, and I put a face mask on, and I made myself a Cosmo. But of course we don't have those in the studio today. Instead we have Bundaberg's new refreshingly light range as our beverage of choice, which is delicious, because I feel like when you watch either Sex and the City or And Just Like That, you need to create a moment and an atmosphere.
You're going to have a nice little bevy with you.
Exactly. It's got to feel special. So I did all that, and I sat down to watch the first episode of season 3, and I'm Just Like That. And straight away, it opens with this really beautiful nod to like diehard Sex and the City fans, because the first episode is written and directed by Michael Patrick King, who's obviously the creator of And Just Like That, but also one of the masterminds behind the original series. And that man, he and I have beef, because he is really big on kind of giving fans these little glimmers and these little moments of like comfort and like wish fulfillment, and then giving you a storyline that just like yanks it all away, like killing a character or ending a relationship or selling an apartment. And he does it because he wants to subvert the storyline, and he wants to subvert expectations, and he loves that people love the show, but he also likes to live in the unexpected, which I sometimes feel like that he does things for shock value. So that's my personal beef with him. But I did appreciate his opening being a little nod to fans, because season 3 opens with Carrie and Charlotte and Miranda, so just the core 3, in an old school kind of like very fancy Manhattan nightclub, and they're drinking cocktails and they're talking about dating in their lives, and it's just that kind of like fun, easy friendship banter that we grow to love in like the original Sex and the City. But the twist is that they're in a lesbian bar, because Miranda is like exploring her sexuality, and they're there to try and help her hook up, which is interesting because it's that idea of like, yes, you're in your 50s and like she's exploring her sexuality, but at the end of the day, you still need your friends to come to a bar with you and like be your wing woman to help you, you know, pick up someone. And as much as we sort of saw her, Miranda, be like dating men in her 30s and everything that comes with that, there's a whole new sort of problems with kind of dating women in your 50s. And it also felt like that kind of old school Sex and the City. Not that we should be watching and just like that looking for glimmers of Sex and the City, because I feel like that's how you hate the show. If you want it to be something that it's just not anymore, something that's been over for 20 years. But Miranda's now in this kind of place where she's going to have that classic Sex and the City, like a boyfriend, girlfriend of the week kind of storylines they used to have every episode. And also her love interest, I won't say who because I want everyone to kind of experience it for the first time. Her love story is that kind of classic, like special guest star coming in, everyone knows their name, they're kind of a well-known New York person, very kind of linked to the show like they used to do with their kind of guest characters. So I loved that. My kind of, what felt difficult for me is that in the end of season 2, Carrie sold her classic apartment that she's had since the show started. Yeah, they had that
big like Last Supper.
Yes, and I don't know, like I feel like they did that so that this season would feel really fresh, and that they could have a new space to play in, because she's now in this like Gramercy Park townhouse, and it's really beautiful. And I'm not sure what's going to add to the story yet, because even though I have all the screeners, I just watched the first one because I didn't want to like watch ahead and ruin it for myself. But it does feel like they just wanted a new set piece. The only thing I'm finding comfort in that is that apparently Sarah Jessica Parker is very uncomfortable with that situation as well. Like, she wanted to stay in the apartment. I've heard her say in interviews.
The apartment also became like a character.
Yes.
You know, and I think often when you remove that, particularly from shows that have this nostalgia about them, which Sex and the City, the people who are watching and just like that are there for the nostalgia.
Yeah.
They are not there because it's like some, you know, brand new thing. It is nostalgia, and that apartment has so much to it. But I think because we've actually kind of been here before, we went through, you know, the changes of she was going to sell it, then she didn't sell it, then Big broke off the engagement, then she went back to it, then she redecorated, then and it's like there's been a lot going on with this apartment. So I almost, it's like, okay, like let's be done with it. You can't sell it and unsell it and resell it and buy it. Like it's done. It's fine. Like let's just leave it in the past.
I know. It's just
that's my opinion.
Sarah Jessica and I don't like change, but we're dealing with it. So that's kind of where we're at. And obviously we knew that her and Aiden's storyline wasn't done forever because some different promo images leaked of John Corbett still being in the mix. So like he is in the mix in the first episode, and you kind of see them working out this new dynamic of like, are they really going to stay apart for 5 years? Are they going to have to call it and just end their relationship, or is something going to happen and he moves in with her? Like, we don't know the answer yet, but it's an interesting setup. And I've heard a lot of people sort of say like, oh, it's so crazy that Carrie agreed to that. Like, it's so unbelievable that she agreed to wait 5 years. And I was like, I'm sorry, are we watching the same show? Because this woman, she's a hopeless romantic. That's everything about her character. Like, Big tells her he's moving to Paris. She's like, great, I'll move with you. You know, she loves a big declaration of love. She screamed at Alexander Petrovsky in a Paris hotel room, I'm looking for big, inconvenient love. So, of course, she's going to say yes to 5 years, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that you've got that nailed.
Yeah.
We know what's happening with Miranda. We know what's happening with Carrie. What about Charlotte?
Yeah, so Charlotte, this is where, again, Michael Patrick King and I are going to have some beef this season, because Charlotte is, I think, such an interesting character. I hate when people write her off as just being like the wife or the one who wanted to fall in love and have a baby. Like, yes, that's her storyline, but she's a very complex character, and I think Kristen Davis really faltered in the first season, but she's a good actress, and I feel like she's really back on her game.
No, she's picked up. Yeah.
She's really got,
Yep.
she's back in the game. We love this for her. Her first episode, maybe it gets better, but her first episode storyline was slightly embarrassing because it felt like it was something pulled from the B plot storyline of some weird after school special that would have aired on the Disney Channel like 20 years ago, because her whole storyline is someone accusing her dog of biting their dog, and her being like, then having to go like look for another dog groomer and look for another dog babysitter. And I'm like, I'm sorry, why are we wasting our precious storyline on this? And I understand they're trying to make her storyline more domestic, but it doesn't need to be that. And most of her screen time is actually more devoted to Lily and Rock, and Lily having like a big love story this weekend, which
with Brady?
No, they've dropped that.
What?
That was the interesting part.
I loved
know.
the Lily and Brady storyline.
When that happened, that was so confronting. Like when Miranda yells when she sees Lily coming out of Brady's room. When Miranda yelled, I yelled too. And it was a lot to deal with, but I'm like, at least that's kind of an interesting,
like, that's fun.
Dynamic.
I like that.
No, she's in love with a guy who's in a ballet school that she plays the piano for. I know, and there's a lot of storyline devoted to that, so we don't love that. The character of Nia Wallace is gone, which Nia and Che being gone, like I loved both of those performers, but I do understand their storylines had come to an end. Lisa Todd Wexley is still in the mix. She hasn't got a lot going on. Her life is kind of just the same, but she wears nice clothes, so we'll let that go. Seema is also, because she ended season 2 in a long distance relationship, and that really comes to a head.
With the big director.
Yeah, with the Marvel director, and that comes to a head in the first season. So we'd just say that if you kind of maybe faltered a little bit with the first 2 seasons of And Just Like That, and you felt a bit uneven, or maybe you didn't feel like it was living up to the nostalgia of Sex and the City, I feel like season 3 has really fallen into a really good place and is maybe a little bit more for the old school kind of fans. And I don't know, it's just a really lovely, comforting watch. It's like a Friday night with a Cosmo watch. It's a Saturday morning with a big coffee kind of watch. Like that's comfort TV.
Do you know the reason I watch stuff like this and Just Like That, these kind of easy to watch shows, is that I put them on in the background and I clean while I watch them.
Okay, that is blasphemous. Just so you say, you can clean to this show if you're watching it the second time. You can't clean watching it the first time.
I do. That's how I watch.
Oh, Ksenia, no.
That's how I watch TV. If it's not a like foreign film that I need to read subtitles for,
I'm really upset by this. Okay, cleaning TV is like an old episode of The Kardashians.
I know, but I do a lot of rewatching. We're going to have a beef about this. I do a lot of rewatching, so usually I do. If it is the first watch, I am.
All
especially
right, watch it the
especially
first
for this,
time.
I am paying attention. I'm not ignoring half of it, but it is the kind of show that, like, it's not like you're going to miss a major plot line.
I know, but I think you have to just really watch it the first time. And yeah, my secret thing is that I watch every episode of Just Like That about 3 times during the week.
Oh my gosh.
It's really in my head because I find it really comforting.
Yeah.
Even the bad episodes, not the one where Big dies. I've watched that once. I can't live through that again. But I feel like the first time you have to be watching it. Otherwise you'll miss like the little quips and you'll miss the clothes.
Well, I'm sorry that I don't have the attention
You'll
span.
miss the clothes. That's what we're watching it for.
I can still see it. I just look at from across while I'm wiping.
Oh, no, I don't like that. That's for the second. That's for a rewatch. That's all I'll say about that. So the first episode and Just Like That is out on Max in Australia today. Episodes then are dropping weekly every Friday. I'm so excited. I'm just so glad it's back.